I sound like a broken record at this point, but man, do I love Match 3 RPGs. But it's very rare nowadays to find premium experiences in this genre, which makes it even sweeter that Puzzle & Dragons made a single-player only premium game in their franchise, and it's available exclusively through Apple Arcade. Now, luckily, I just got a new phone, so I got 3 months of Apple Arcade for free, and I get to try it out and let you guys know how it is. Don't forget to leave a like, pop a sub, and comment down below what you feel about Match 3 RPGs, and let's get right into it. Right off the bat, I was a little bit disappointed to see that Puzzle & Dragons' story is in landscape orientation. I loved Puzzle & Dragons specifically for its portrait orientation, and I always love mobile games to be in portrait orientation when possible. And I think Puzzle & Dragons and Match 3 RPGs in general play extremely well and better in portrait orientation. So this is just a little nitpick of mine, but it's important to note. Now, this does have great sound design, a great art style. You will recognize a lot of the sound effects in this game. There's a lot of little Easter eggs for people who have played the original Puzzle & Dragons. And I do like the new soundtracks on offer here as well. So it's not just completely copy and pasted. There's some new stuff here, including a storyline. Of course, story is in the title. Now, the same exact battle system that we have all come to know and love is here in this game. There are no surprises when it comes to it, and I think this is phenomenal. I did not want them to change up the formula whatsoever. I just wanted a single-player RPG-styled game with the Puzzle & Dragons battle system, and this is it. Now, I've been playing it for about 2 hours, and I love this battle system. I always have, and I always will. Now, if you're not familiar with this battle system, it's a match 3 battle system, except you're able to maneuver around one singular piece on the board at a time, and you have a time limit in order to do so. But as you maneuver the piece through the board, other pieces will be manipulated depending on what direction you drag that piece on the board. And you'll see that in the gameplay before you. And this feels like the skill ceiling is limitless. You always feel like you can get better with this battle system, and I think that's why the original Puzzle & Dragons is alive to this day, is because this battle system is so satisfying. The learning curve is immaculate. Like, you start out sucking, and I'm still not very good at it at all, but it always feels like you can get better at it, and it's rewarding to do so. And it's here in this game, which I love. Now, the third thing I wanted to kind of talk about when it comes to this game is that there is no gacha here, at least from what I have seen so far after 2 hours. Instead of the gacha system, there is a crafting system. So if you're trying to craft up specific monsters, you have to have different other monsters that you have already crafted, and then you craft those into higher level dragons, if that makes sense. So the really good units, so to speak, in this game, you're going to be crafting your way up towards them, and that's how you do it. So you play through levels, you gain currencies, you gain specific characters that you're able to craft into new characters, and that's how it works. But I do like that the gacha system, or the little machine that pops out the egg, is still here in this game too. That was a nice little touch. I don't know how I feel about it. I love the gacha system with Puzzle & Dragons, but I get that this is a single player game, and gacha doesn't really have a place in it when you don't spend money on it, which is good. I think a lot of people will like this change. I think it could have been good either way, but so far so good. Now, another thing that really stood out to me about this game is that this is much grindier than I was expecting. The grind and the longevity of this game is still here, like the original Puzzle & Dragons. Now, there is a lot of content on offer here and a lot of things to grind for. You're not just going to be able to plow through this game immediately and from start to finish in a couple hours. I feel like I've barely brushed the surface after 2 hours. So this is going to be a game that you're going to be able to consistently log into, quote unquote, and play each day and feel like you're making progress towards that next dragon that you want to craft, so to speak. And I think that's really cool, especially for an Apple Arcade subscription. They're very smart smart making the game this way, because then people will want to stay subscribed to continue to grind in this game. It feels like a continual experience that is going to receive future updates, and you don't have to worry about spending in-app purchases. So I think this is actually really clever, and I do like that the content is grindy, because Puzzle and Dragons at its core has always been grindy, and RPGs are usually grindy to their core as well. So I think this is huge. Now this brings me to my final thought. Is it worth getting Apple Arcade just to play Puzzle and Dragons story? Now that's kind of a loaded question. I think if you are a fan of Puzzle and Dragons, I think this pays really good homage to the original game, and it provides you a single player experience where you don't have to worry about FOMO and missing out on certain events or anything, or spending a certain amount of money to get a certain unit. This is the game for you. I think you really need to spend the $5 or whatever on Apple Arcade and play this game. I definitely think it's worth it. Now, if you're just a fan of Match 3 RPGs in general, and you've never experienced this battle system before, you need to get Puzzle and Dragon Story. You have to get Apple Arcade and try out this battle system, or at least test run the battle system in the original Puzzle and Dragons to see if you really like it, and then go over to this game, because the battle system is so good. Now, if you are not a fan of Match 3 RPGs, or you're not a fan of Puzzle and Dragons, like you've never experienced either of these genres or games, I still think that if you like role-playing games, this is worth at least 1 month of Apple Arcade by itself. And if you get invested, then there you go. It'll be worth it every single month. I honestly think this is one of the best original games that Apple Arcade has tossed up in quite some time. They were really smart to get this license and get this game going. And it's one of the better things that have been added in recent memory. I feel like Apple Arcade is getting obliterated by Netflix right now, and for good reason, but I think this is a great step for Apple Arcade. They still have a long ways to go. But if you've watched this to the end of this video, I really appreciate it. Don't forget to leave a like, pop a sub, and comment, and all of that jazz. Thank you so much. I hope you guys are staying safe, and take it easy.